All right, roll call. We have all board members present, none absent. So 4.0, I'll make a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
I did the motion. You want to do?
Oh, I'll do second.
All
Sorry.
right. Any,
If I can just make a couple comments, number one being, if you go back to the closed session, if you had printed this off prior, we changed the language today, of the reason. I did list it as negotiations and it technically couldn't fall under that. So I just wanted to highlight the change. Other than that, I think we're good to go.
any questions or discussion on the agenda? Okay. All those in favor of approving, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 5.0, communications and reports. Start with enrollment update.
So if you look at your enrollment, we're up 3 from last month, which is always up is a good thing. Again, you'll just see a little bit one way or the other. They're up 2 kindergartners, up a first grader, up a third grader, up a fifth grader, down 2 seventh, down a ninth, up 2 in 10th, and down in 11th. So I mean, it's just a little one way or the other, but for the most part, we're in that flat time period, which is, I think, a good thing, but we'll take every plus we can get.
Yep, agreed. All right, finance update. Carla.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
All right, so nothing glaring sticks out at me. We've been running along just the way we should be. One note on the first page of the board report, I want to make a comment about the local other revenue. And that is elevated this year because of our medical billing, our Medicaid billing has up about 100,000. So that's a big chunk of that increase there. And then also our donations and facility rentals are up this year. So those are the two there. And then on this, anybody have any questions on that page?
Did you want to hit on the other expenditures? Just
Oh.
Because
Yep. So if we go down to the expenditures in the general fund there, line 50, there it's like 51,000 this year. Right now, we're only at 13% of our budget spent, but that's because the expenditure is actually in our supplies. We just house that overage in that budget line for expenditures, so.
And you're feeling comfortable with where we're at and
Yeah.
everything?
Yeah.
As far as how the numbers are working out, looking and what they're projected to come out at?
Yes, yep, we're pretty okay there. Hopefully optimistic. Nothing to make a major note on the second page unless anybody has any questions there. And then on the treasury report, only note we have is we're about 2 million up, but I think that is a little bit of timing and a little bit of revenue. So we'll see how that plays out.
We'll take it.
Me too. Me too.
Any questions, Carla? Great, thank you.
Yep.
5.3, administration and department head reports. Start with you.
Okay, again, just running. Number one, if you didn't see the web post, Facebook post, congratulations goes to Miss Beth Vetter on being named the Minnesota Association of Secondary School Principals, the Northern Division Assistant Principal of the Year. So congratulations, hats off. Appreciate the hard work. In front of you, there's a copy of the strategic plan, and just again, it's in draft form. Don't worry about formatting, whenever it's said and done, it'll get into ones you see around the school and stuff, bigger size print, get formatted, but just to make sure everyone's on board, started out with the district leadership and administration putting some survey questions together. We surveyed students, staff, parents, and community members. Took that information, then I'm just going to say ranked it, if you will, found common themes like that. We then kind of somewhat mimicked the plan from before. We changed the goals a little bit over here, or I should say the focus areas a little bit. Came up with some goal areas, and again, everything's in draft form. It went back and forth, and then the latest has been to put some column objectives but here are some things we would do to meet those, okay? Administration as well as the district leadership team, it's where it's all come from. That and some AI, as we talked about when we were going through the survey and stuff. And so now, not expecting to do anything with this tonight, take it and start looking at it. For the most part, the major areas in, the surveys are addressed somewhere in there, okay? Communication, positive, negative, it's in a couple different places. So that's what this is for, to start, like I say, looking over, and looking for input on if there's things, because again, just because something wasn't in the survey, whatever, the board could add stuff, could say, no, we disagree. The board has final say. So, that's where that is. If you have questions, please let me know. Please don't sit and read the whole thing through the meeting tonight. Just so you're aware, I passed on, to Mr. Lohr last week. He's going to work on getting a school board member, getting a process for the start of next year to have a student school board member. So, he's off and running with it, whether it's student council, honor society, something, come up with a little bit of criteria. Obviously it can change, but, with the goal of having someone in place. And I'll just be honest, and I haven't even thrown this at Jill, but I did talk with one of her staff, see how it goes. Maybe a year from now, we'd put a middle school person on, and get, a few buildings perspective. So anyway, that's running. I am to, let you know, we did have a sick leave bank request. This is in the teacher contract. Pulled a committee together. Again, it's of the right representation. A couple board members were on it. And, the agreement was to, grant the request. And so that's off and running, but part of the language is we're supposed to notify the board, that request was made and going. So that's all I'm doing. It's private information of who and exactly what, but any questions on that? Okay. Academy coordinator, a group did interview for that. There is a recommendation, and I'm just going to throw it out, of Mr. Grassel here for that position, but there is something that has come up, and again, it's on his end, and I'm not going to say in a bad way. When he retires, if he wants to, can I draw some money? He can't be employed at the time. And so it's not, I mean, theoretically, like for TRA, I think you need 1 day of that has not what we're looking at. So we have an agreement in place. It'll come to the board, but it's not going to be taken care of right now. Okay. And typically that position wouldn't work in, he's done principal at the end of June. So probably later July or the first meeting in August, that contract will come forth.
No, he'll be fishing. Yeah.
Here's one though, and again, whether we need action, I don't think we do, but, the calendar, which was approved before I came here, and again, it's worked just fine. You've approved next year's already, but, we changed the last Wednesday from early out to the last day, which is Thursday, as early release. I just assumed it was early release. Well, in the past, they've gotten out at 12:50 and 1:15. And we just have to, if that's what we're gonna do, get the info out. I don't know if the board, and if it is, we'll continue that for the following year. That's what's been done, I guess.
Is that for this year, you're saying?
Well, correct. I mean, it's not noted on the calendar,
Oh.
but
Yeah.
Yep.
They just have done
Yeah.
more than an early out.
Yeah.
'Cause we didn't have early outs before. So it's always been like
So
half
Wednesday
day.
will be a normal day?
Wednesday's normal and it's on the calendar that way. Thursday was to be early out. And of course, when some people think of, well, most people think of early out, it's, an hour early.
Right.
Well, this is more than an hour. I guess it's been that way. I don't know how long. And just because it's been that way doesn't mean it has to be that way. I'm just,
We just need the communication out, so make sure everyone.
correct. If
I think it's fine.
we're fine?
Yeah.
Okay. And then I'm not gonna bring it back to you next year. We'll get it out, and if we want to change it, we can change it at any time. Facility assessments. And so we had that conversation as part of our work session, and I've been in contact with 3 out of the 4 that, were, interested. The one that, I haven't contacted, I can't find much from people that have worked with them. They're in rebranding. It's this inbuilt. They were Apex before. And so I'm a little leery to really extend the olive branch. I did talk with Kraus Anderson, ICS and Nexus. I think ICS and Nexus are the 2 that are interested. I know you'd recommended, but I don't know how to, unless we're gonna open the RFP, you know, it's open and we haven't done anything, but just to start reaching out and trying to find, I guess my thought with ICS and Nexus would be to have each of those groups come and present to the board. You know, limit, whether it's 20 minutes, half hour, like at our next board meeting, do our work first. And then let them come and give their spiel, of why they may or may not be the best. Because a little more it's on your dime, you know, on what it's exactly, I shouldn't say our dime, you know, taxpayer. That's my thought. They're both open to it. I haven't asked for any updated documents because like I say, if that's what we're gonna do, let them put their spiel together. Thoughts? I mean, interested in hearing from both of them, you know,
Yeah,
firsthand.
it's April 28th, right?
Yeah, and so I guess my thought was, you know, just assuming we don't have a ton, we'll schedule, because again, I don't want, you know, each of them sitting in, you know, say one at 6 and one at 6:30. That would give us a half hour if we're a few minutes late, you know,
Sure.
they'll.
Anybody, April 28th is when.
I won't
go to
go
Wolfridge. Is there gonna be
Oh,
anybody in
Wolfridge.
Wolfridge? Are you going?
But the flip side is we can, you know, it'll be recorded. Yeah, you know, I mean,
Yeah.
at least it gives,
Checking. I
Oh.
wanted to make sure that
We all have seventh graders. right?
Yes. Four.
us 4
Four.
of us do, so. just-
yeah, if you're all gonna be
Oh,
gone,
do
we
you-
got it.
Oh, I'm not going there. We're good.
Wolfridge, We would be with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. So
Are you?
I'll get that set up.
Oh.
Just so you're aware too, this Ryan from the realtor that's working on that, I am gonna do a walkthrough of the furniture store just to get a grasp of, like I say, mixed feelings, but like I say, just to see what it actually looks like, what's in there, what's not in there, if that would become part of the conversation down the road. But I just thought it's probably easier, I'll see if Ron or someone can go with, so a couple sets of eyes just to look at it and have an idea. Any questions on that? Anything special you would like from the two groups other than, you know, they know what we're kind of looking from. But what their typical process is, how they've worked with some districts. I do have a packet for each of them that, like I say, we can share.
Mhm.
It's a lot, you know, it's a reference
Are
document.
they gonna give us options?
Yeah.
Or is it all gonna be just, this is gonna be your option? Is it gonna be one option? Is it gonna be,
3 options.
yeah,
I guess I haven't asked for multiple. I mean, I think hear their spiel of typically what they have to offer, how they, you know, would work through what they think should be done, you know, and it can be a question and answer. You know, this
Yeah.
isn't like a job interview where we have to ask the exact same thing, you know,
right.
to both. It's a conversation.
And they're both walking through all of our buildings, correct, then? Or-
Well, yeah, Nexus came and did prior to the other one.
Yep,
And ICS has been in all of them, you know, and they work with our 10-year plan. They just haven't done any major projects with you, I don't think. They have with some other schools around. So yeah, they're familiar. To be honest, ICS is more familiar, you know, than Nexus is, but, so. Couple last things, just so you're aware, with the ongoing discussion of tariffs that popped here a week or so ago, we had, and it came from, I'm pointing at Jason, the technology groups, very worried about what's gonna happen with the tech prices. We typically get third grade and eighth grade to replace the Chromebooks. It's in the budget, okay? We took and ordered them ahead. So what's gonna happen is we're gonna go more negative in this year, and when next year starts, we'll backfill the general. Because they're not gonna go down, and if they would happen to whatever, jump a certain, they had them on stand, and as long as they're in stock, we could get what we needed. And we did the same with, the one group of teacher devices that we're replacing. So, it was a decision. They came in, we think is good price, but if they were gonna jump 20, 30, 40%, we just felt, you know, now you can't do that with everything, you know, I mean, but
Yep.
it's a given that, it's what's done every year. Let's go for it. So just kind of heads up, eventually when the budget numbers come through, we'll keep note, and it's gonna swing for a little bit.
and that'll get us through next year?
Yep. We didn't get to the new line boards. We're in conversation with admin of we'll get some more of those yet, but you can only do so much,
Yep.
I mean, you can purchase all your fuel and all your, who knows? It's kind of settled a little bit, but on the other hand, just take the Apple devices for teach, they're not gonna drop. So I don't think it was a big gamble, or even the Chromebooks, where they're at, but they could definitely have taken a 20, 30, well, I think they said 50% possibly, but, so anyway, just throwing that out there. The last thing, I gave you a sheet, this one right here, okay, that, there's some conversation or a request, I use the word plea, that, for technology. If you recall, when Tina earned her position at, New Heights as an assistant principal, we then went last year to replace Tina, in the trades area, construction trades. She was part-time out at CMS and part-time at the high school. Unfortunately, we couldn't hire that position. We didn't get anyone qualified. So in the whatever last hour or whatever, Joe came up with doing Spanish out there to fill the special area or whatever you want to call. We were fortunate to find a person mid-year. So the plan was to bring them back and have them, back in that part-time. The challenge is, and we have that, okay, that there's more demand if you look at that sheet for the trades area, tech area, welding, wood shop, whatever. They do have a solution. I'm not saying a long term, but at least for next year, a person that would do the part-time shop out at the middle school, if we're interested in, having the options here. More numbers are going to go into these classes according to Mr. Lohr, and feel free if you want to, if I'm misspeaking anything, but some of the other electives, there's too many kids in, so they got to go somewhere. And some of these classes aren't full, some are, but I guess the question is, it's not budgeted. You know what I'm saying? It would be for the most part about a half-time ad. The person would be full-time, but we have some other things that they could do out there.
Before a, like, building.
So it would, Sam would stay here full-time and we would fill the elective, the shop classes out at CMS. It's not a long-term that we can do this. I mean, if we did it long-term, we're gonna have to find a different teacher. But someone stepped up that has the skills out there and could do it for a year, maybe two. I don't think it'll go any longer than that. But it's up to you if you want, like I say, and according to Mr. Lohr, the reason that the trades number of teachers has went down has not been the lack of students. It's been, we haven't been able to find people, qualified.
I got a couple questions. Does this suffice everything at the high school then? Kind of, if you have two here? That'll give you enough to take care of everything here? Yep. Yep.
That's what we were at our height.
Yep. But you would not have a half here anymore, you'd have two? Oh, yeah, yep, yep.
And then they'd have a half at CMS or a full.
Correct.
Okay.
And long-term, and again, the admin group has to fight, each for their own building, advocate for their own building. Long-term, meaning a year or two, if we can't, I believe you need a feeder program, so I mean, for some reason, if we can't hire down the road or suffice, the middle school has to have some shop. If not, there's a lot of space out there that you better redesign, and there's your preschool, I guess. Yeah.
If we want to
no,
continue.
And I don't want, no, it's not the right thing.
Very-
No, it's very much in this.
And we want to try to continue having that at the middle school, correct? We want shops, we want those trades offered there. And are these positions, it's up and it's been up for a year and a half as far as that?
Well, we hired the.
Yep,
high
I know we
school
hired
one,
that one.
And so that,
Yep. What, thought we had,
Yeah.
yep.
So are we
Yeah.
still budgeted for the 2.5 year and a half at the middle?
no,
school?
the half out there would be an addition.
That would be
And
an
that's why saying, I mean, it's definitely what's good for kids and it's needed, but it will be a little adjustment. For the most part, my thought is, I think it's the right way to go. But again, it is, you know,
Half an FTE.
it's a little increase. A couple of our hires have come in bottom step, which is good. Well, just financially, it's a good thing.
Financially,
It's not a lot of experience, this and that. There's one that, does have, some credits and stuff. So, I mean, it's hard to say exactly where we're gonna wash out there. We're still looking for a couple people and, you know, where they're at. So until they're official, it's hard to say with our predictions where we exactly come out.
I think it's, in my humble opinion, as part of the board, I think it's very important
Well, I think,
to have a halftime. Not only does it help with the students and the trades and engaging those kids who love the trades, even if you don't love the trades. I mean, I love the trades and I was terrible at them. But like for Jill too, like for scheduling and the like, that's important. So, I would be on board for half an FTE out at the middle school.
Is that something where we could look at a rotation like we've done before from local people? Local trades?
it's open. I mean, right now we have a person that can step in and we can, you know, fill down the road. I think we're gonna have to be open. I mentioned to Lynn earlier, it's kind of hindsight and not that it's completely too late. But, I believe Mr. Hopka plans to retire, don't have anything in writing in a year. That's what I've been told. I mean, if you knew that, we should almost be posted now. And if we could get someone, you know, get them a year because we've struggled and a lot of schools have struggled to get.
I think, you know, it's probably a high risk, but it's the reward at the end. If you know that we have someone in the trades that's gonna be gone soon, to post something,
Agreed.
and
And
then,
that's another option.
and then we figure out the budget. Unfortunately, we figure out the budget because at least that we have that person then. Because it's worse off for everybody if we don't have
Yeah,
that
because
person.
that's what happened this year.
Might sway his decision too, if he knows we have somebody. If we were to find
Oh,
somebody.
sure.
Could, I mean, like I say, the demand's there right now, so I mean, you know, like you say, the person, that is an option if you would like to, before we do a movement, we can post for a couple weeks and see if we get any bites of,
Do we get CTE dollars?
yes, yep, we get some Carl Perkins, assuming they qualify,
Hmm.
you know,
So it
to,
won't completely come out of our
It
budget.
wouldn't come out of the
Correct,
budget.
correct.
Okay. It might be something where you move forward with the halftime person who is wanting to step into the middle school post, you know, and see if
But-
there are any bites.
but the internal, we want, I guess I would say we post, and if you could hire, then that person can stay doing what they're doing out there, and this person would either be, you know, part-time out there and some hours here. You see what I'm saying, where if we move that person and then you get a full-time, now we, you know, because we're gonna have to replace what that person teaches, you know, that's where the extra is. So I mean, if we want to post and see if we get any, great. But the idea for planning would be is that we're gonna have
Yeah.
tech out there. Are you with me, Joe?
Do you have room if we got a full-time? Or no?
Well, if we got a full-time,
Yeah, that's what, yep, that's kind of what I'm,
Post,
everybody okay with posting? See if,
Okay.
Yep.
okay.
again, whatever works out, we can update and have formal action down the road, so. That is all I have at this point unless someone has questions.
We'll move on to principals. Chad?
All right, good evening. So New Heights report, March obviously last month was I Love to Read month. Had, which was a huge success. Like I said before, our group has been awesome, organizing. We had book bingo and stuffy night. If you don't know what the stuffy night is, I had about 7 boxes in my office of stuffed animals or the bodies of the animals, and then the kids were able to go in and stuff them and do their thing in between the book bingo. We had a parent read-in, we had a character parade, we had UND Aerospace, UMC Science, groups came out, and, Aaron Peterson, Dr. Aaron Peterson, for those of you that don't know, was a 5th grade teacher with us, for a while. She is now an author of the book When the Going Gets Tough, so she came and presented to each one of our grade levels. So that was fun to have. Kindergarten registration has been open and online for a couple of weeks. And as of right now, we're expecting about 130 kindergartners, with the preschool and Head Start, and then a few others. And we've estimated always between 15 and 20 walk-ins. So we're looking at that. And that's not including the Super K. So,
Oh, they're already part of that
we
registration?
thought of that last year and we ended up perfect, so we'll just go with it. So we're gonna be all right. Kindergarten is having their music program on the 29th, so that'll be in the afternoon and in the evening. The Northwest Service Co-op has been doing like a recognition, one person can make a difference. We've had 4 people that have been recognized. Mark Dietz, who was our fill-in janitor for about 8 weeks, did a remarkable job. Our staff loved him. I wish he would have stayed, but he had to move on. Tammy Schumacher and Rachel Hemsing both were recognized, and then Jody and Lacey, our front office people, were recognized as well. Our teachers are looking forward to finishing up OLA, the READ Act training. We're getting close to being done. We should be done by the end of the month. We've been busy interviewing, trying to fill positions. It's always a fun time of year when you're stick handling, trying to move around people and trying to find the right fit. We have found a few, and you'll be approving some of those tonight. This is an interesting number. So, Miss Hulse does the jump rope for heart for the American Heart Association. She raised $7,000 at New Heights this year.
Wow.
About $2,000 over her goal. PTO is doing the backpack to school toolbox, kind of a fundraiser. It's a nice thing. Parents can get online, order that. It's delivered to the school, and then PTO comes in and separates it out and delivers it right to the school or right to the kids' classroom. So they're working on that. Second graders are going to Good Sam the first week of May. Do a little program for them. That's always fun for those people to fill in their sanctuary there, and our kids do a great job. Our students will be doing FastBridge and OG testing to finish up to see where we're at and what our growth is here beginning the second week of May. Nothing else.
Any questions for Chad?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening. I have a lot of similarities to Chad over at New Heights. Our teachers are very excited as we're wrapping up OLA. Our last live session will be on April 30th, so that should be the conclusion for that OLA session throughout the year. We've had our 3rd grade music program, so all 3 grades have had their music programs. We'll have our choir and our band will also have a final presentation in May. We are also in the middle of MCAs, so that's been fun, good times. The kids have been working really hard though and really doing their best on that. So we're kind of wrapping up with our reading right now, and then we're slowly getting into our math, and 5th grade will end with science that first week in May. So getting that done as well as with FastBridge and OG and morphology assessments that we'll be doing as well. We're really excited. We'll be welcoming over our incoming third graders on April 24th. That's a chance for those students who are on IEPs to see how similar but yet different that South Point is to New Heights and get a chance just to meet those resource teachers, see those resource rooms, and take a little bit of that anxiety off the plate for them.
Is that everybody or just the?
That's just our students on
IEP
IEPs that
kids,
we
okay.
do that for at this time. Something that we could look at in the future. Because I do know that those second graders, just as our fifth graders, because our fifth graders will also be doing that transition over to middle school that Jill probably will be touching on, just for that opportunity just to walk in the school and just see what the school looks like. And so that's just takes a lot of anxiety off of the plate for those kids. And so we've done it for the last few years. And so excited that we can continue that. And yeah, and we're just really in the midst of working on scheduling and like Chad said, looking at those new hires and placing people in maybe different areas. And so it's a busy time of year, very much. Any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, let's talk middle school. I have to recognize too, Mrs. Vetter and the work that she has done with our students, and the recognition of being a middle level assistant principal is a pretty great thing. When he said it was MASSP Northern Division, that is, our state is divided into 8 principal groups, and she's among a really nice group of really great leaders. Brian can attest to that too. Lots of really good principals to choose from, and really great to get that recognition among peers. We know we really appreciate her. Last week it was Assistant Principals Week, and in our buildings we do our own celebrations of who our staff are. And one of the things that we did for Mrs. Vetter was just notes of appreciation from staff. And I really wanted to read them because they secretly were submitted to me, but Beth got to share those and or got to read those, and to know that, you know, the work that she does is hard. It's difficult to be an assistant principal. It's tough to be in that position because oftentimes you're perceived as the bad guy, and she is not. She does a lot of things behind the scenes, and so certainly well deserved to get that recognition. Also wanted to recognize a couple of other of our staff at the middle school, Mrs. Friedland and Miss Hillman, 2 of our 6th grade teachers who are making plans that are different than being teachers next fall. And I need to just recognize them as incredible human beings, as fantastic teachers, and often really quiet leaders, just knowing how to redirect students and support and love them in the ways that 6th grade teachers do. And Mrs. Friedland and Miss Hillman are top notch. We do have plans to move some staff over to South Point. They shared interest in joining the middle school team, and I know that, thank you, Chad, and thank you, Melissa, for working through and staffing and restaffing and hiring quality people, and thank you for your support, board, and making or giving us permission to make those adjustments and changes so that we can have people who want to be in the positions and do well with the students that we'll have next year too. Need to also say a thank you to New Hope for Immigrants. On Friday, I was invited to a dine and dialogue, and part of the reason why this was a really cool event is that, and New Hope puts it on a couple of times a year, but we were given over 70 multicultural books to add to our school library. That is a lot of money and a lot of support and a lot of ways for our students who might come from many backgrounds to now have a place, a person, a book that they can connect to and see themselves on the cover of a book. And so that was a really great gift. New Hope had reached out in the fall and just said, hey, are you interested? We're writing a grant. And I said, yes, for sure. And so we gave a list and some suggestions, and I worked with Mrs. Hovde, who is our library leader, and met with them a couple of times, and then found out that I thought we were getting maybe 5 to 10 books. So it was a really nice surprise on Friday when she said, oh, and I'll drop off the other 50 on Monday. So those came in they had to be hoisted in actually. So thank you to New Hope. We too are in the midst of MCA testing. And so really what we try to do is keep the day as normal as possible. So calm, positive, safe, do what you do, show up as a student and do your best. And so thank you to the teachers and the behind the scenes paraprofessionals who are helping with the MCA testing. Next month when we meet, I want to share our SGP, our student growth percentile. I'm excited to say that we've had some really nice growth and I want to share that with you. Our AVID plans for next year are progressing. We now have a site team that's been established. We have some plans for some summer learning and our 2 goals. And I think it's important to say goals out loud because when we say them out loud, then we're held accountable for them. Our 2 goals for next school year is to build into our schedule 2 classes, 2 sections of an AVID elective. And then second, we're going to do staff development school-wide that's connected to the practices of AVID, which are really best practices for teaching and helping kids to be focused, to be organized, and to hold themselves accountable when it comes to their schoolwork too. We have concerts that are coming up next week. We have band and we have choir. Melissa mentioned too, or Mrs. Croach mentioned too, that we have transition planning that is coming. We have our 8th graders who come up to the senior high on the 14th of May. We have 5th graders that are coming to us on the 19th of May. And we also do an open house for our 5th graders who have special needs, and they get to come in and do kind of a private tour, meet their case managers, and transition their South Point case managers to their new case managers. So that's an evening that we do on May 13th as well too. And that coincidentally is our 6th grade band concert as well. So lots of really fun things. But again, trying to keep the day as normal as possible. That's really important to keep that structure at the end of the year and during spring season. Questions? Oh, also thanks for your support with the trades and tech. We'll continue to do the best that we can. Really think that that's an important thing for our students. That was missing this year. They enjoyed Spanish and that was a good stretch. There is something about hands-on woodworking, racing CO2 cars and getting to build and sand and use a table saw. A little danger in a middle school's day is sometimes really fun. Questions?
Is Outsider Day?
Yeah, Outsiders Day. That is May 20th. We typically have
Towards the
that.
end, right?
Yep, May
Also,
20th.
yeah.
Yep, it is. And again, Mrs. Adams does a fantastic job of putting together a day that is incredibly connected to a novel that some students might say, well, that's old. She does not make it that way. And the story is pretty universal. That being said, there was a fundraiser in March. There were 2 nights that Deeks Pizza did fundraiser for us, and there was over $1,200 that was raised. Incredible. So people really support eating pizza, but also support eating or the Outsiders Day, and know that it's a school event, but it is a big deal in our community too. So yeah, lots of good things going on. Really proud of all of our district staff. So thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. I'm gonna need a little bigger sheet, I think, next time, so, lots of stuff going on at the high school as well. First of all, thank you for, supporting the industrial tech stuff. I appreciate that. That's, well needed. A lot of things, I don't want to beat a dead horse, but just to kind of fill you in a little bit more and brief, but with our high school schedule, we have 28 credits in order for kids to graduate. 7 of those credits, which is 14 classes, are electives. So that's a big part of the fact that we need places for people to go, like Mr. Grover said. Part of the problem on the business side of it, which is used to be a lot of electives, now has half of his schedule being requireds with the requirement of personal finance classes. Not that that's a bad thing, but that just takes away, instead of him teaching 12 things that he can be electives for, now it's half of that. So 6 of his classes are electives, 6 are required based on every single senior has to take personal finance. So it's a windfall or a snowball, I should say, of a lot of things. So, there are a lot of kids that are wanting to take Paul's electives that can't because he's full, so that goes into the different areas. So this will help immensely. Trust me, Sam is not going to be resting. He'll have lots of things in which to do. So, kids like hands-on stuff. They love getting their hands dirty, and that's 100% of why we're doing the academies in the first place. You know, we want to get kids not only college ready, but career ready. So that's how we get kids career ready, is by doing that. So like I said, thank you for letting that happen. And now I'm done with that. Lots of stuff. Like I said, we had an art contest. We took 12 kids up to Warroad for a Minnesota State High School League art contest. 12 of the 12 won an award of some sort. 2 of the 12 won Spotlight Awards, which is the best in show in that category. If you ever take a gander around the school here, you'll see artwork everywhere. Mrs. Jeanette does a great job. Mr. Lundberg does a great job of putting stuff out and up and all around. It's incredible, some of the stuff that the kids draw. Coming from a guy who can't even draw a circle or a stick figure, that's amazing. I mean, it's absolutely amazing. So they do great work. So if you ever want to take a walk around, feel free and see all the stuff that the kids are doing. It's awesome. So that was cool. Robotics, did a big fundraiser, pulled pork thing couple Saturdays ago, I think already. Overall, they've met their $20,000 goal to get to Worlds in Dallas. I believe the number that they got at the pulled pork thing was like $7,000 or $8,000. So it's a ridiculous amount of money. So that's awesome. Good for them. So they're going to Dallas-ish, beginning of May, I think, right in the very end of April, beginning of May. So that's happening. Obviously, we're doing MCA testing. We test sophomores in reading and science, and we test juniors in math. So that's the test that we give. Ninth graders are out of it, and seniors obviously too. We have a National Honor Society award ceremony on the 23rd of April. That's at 7 o'clock in the new gym. We got booted out of the PAC because the PAC is having a spring play going on. So we had 41 people that applied for being in our National Honor Society, and 21 got inducted. So it's roughly about 7% of our population of our students of 600. So pretty high honor, very high honor to be in the National Honor Society. With that, obviously spring band, spring choir concert, those are coming up beginning of May. I can get dates, but that's early May. And that's all on our calendar. And then obviously the big thing that for our seniors, graduation, I've mentioned that to you guys as well. That is May 23rd, 7 o'clock at the Civic. I'll get a formal sheet for you just to remind you at the next school board meeting. I do need 2 people to hand out diplomas. I actually need 1 because Mr. Perkowitz has already graciously volunteered to do it. Ms. King, you want to do it? That's great. If at some point, I know you're going to have a kid that graduate, you're going to have a kid that graduate, you're going to have somebody that graduates, you're going to, but around here, there's nothing more cool than being able to hand out a diploma to your own kid or some relative, right? So I didn't get to hand them out, but I got a hug from each of my 3 boys, which was amazing. I have pictures of all that in my office. But if you have somebody that you want to hand out a diploma to in the future, then let me know and we'll get you on that spot. So that's an awesome, one of the few perks that you get to be on the school board. So there you go. But other than that, because of staffing, Steph's retiring, we're going to move Katie Clevin to my building all day. And then like Mr. Grover said, eventually we're going to hire Mr. Grassel to be our coordinator for Academy, but we'll figure out when that happens. But other than that, knock on wood, I got no other staffing issues right now, but things could change in 12 hours, but we'll see. So any questions for me? Thank you.
Thank you.
Any committee reports?
Only thing that I would throw a couple of things right now is, assuming we have agreements go forward, we're going to be able to make it forward. So I will need some people we don't have. So we'll see after our session if that's needed, and if it does, just keep that in mind. But otherwise, I don't think any of the committees right now. Since the last.
All right, moving on to 6.0, the consent agenda. I'll take a motion to approve.
So moved.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion about the
I
consent
have,
agenda?
a question. How many more positions are we looking for?
Currently, I believe,
Yeah, and then with the hire,
Two teaching positions?
okay, and then, with the hiring of, a social worker and then, yeah, are we gonna still have to split anyone between the buildings anymore?
So
No.
what happens is the middle school will have two, we put the social workers and counselors together, so the high school will have two full-time, middle school will have two full-time. Self-funded, ones will have one full-time, and one person will go back. Typically,
Okay, so it won't be as many moving around. Okay.
soon to be.
Yeah.
It's not only the social worker, who's the one, but again, complete list of who's all moving will actually come out, but again, I believe in people want to. If, someone gets hired out for, say, fourth grade, but they have passion for second. What happens? They'll do it, it's a different building. Can't always accommodate them. And sometimes change is good. Got something 15 years, you go home, like go from first grade to fourth.
Any other questions or discussion on the consent agenda?
The only comment I would make, and I hope everyone caught it, and I mentioned it, Sierra's been taken off the trail on that, and I don't instead of consent just because of that being on board. And I do ask the board to always help if there's ever a connection, I don't, or Nancy, doesn't catch it or something, don't be afraid to say something. That's why.
Right, all those in favor of approving the consent agenda, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to 7.0, opportunities for citizens to speak on items on the agenda, not on the agenda, none? Okay. 8.0 is district business
I have to recuse myself from this.
from 8.1?
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so 8.1 is to approve the hire of Sierra Hangsleben as the New Heights principal beginning July 1st, 2025. I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Any questions or discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes with 5 and then 1 recusal. All right. 9.0 is a payment of claims and accounts.
I'll make the motion to approve the payment of the K-12 bills 129-144, 129-284, and the electronic fund transfers in the amount of $1,233,020.70.
Any seconds?
A second.
Any questions or discussion? Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. 10.0, move on to board member comments. Matt, I'll start with you.
Just congratulations to, Mrs. Vetter. That's awesome. Assistant Principal of the Year. And the art students up in War Road, congratulations to them for all their awards and congratulations to Mrs. Hangsleben.
I think it's great that we're seeing all the recognition of not only our staff, but everybody else that's working really hard to be flexible in what we're doing with moving staff and the kids. And I think it keeps that east side pride in our school really strong when we're able to do those types of things.
Nothing new. I like the updates. I like hearing what's going on
Yeah.
in the schools and like what's going on with the different groups and activities and everything. So it's fun to hear what's going on, and it's hard to believe it's already coming up on like the end of the year again, because April, May gets so busy, but yeah, a lot of moving parts, and I think, yeah, staff and everybody's doing a really great job, so.
When I hear that, I'm like, oh, I got a band concert. Oh, I got a
Yep, I
band
know.
concert. Amanda?
It was nice to hear about all the recognition from staff, and then, yeah, I don't really have anything tonight. Can't even talk, so.
Yeah, this is the best time of the year. It's so busy. Welcome back, Sierra. We're excited to have you.
Yeah. I don't have too much either, but I, say congratulations to Miss Vetter. Welcome back, Sierra, and this is great work that everybody's doing. It is really exciting to hear all those updates, so we do have a good group and proud to be an East Sider. All right, the next 11.0, the next Board of Education will be April 28, 2025, 5:30. That'll be a long one, as we're gonna have those bidders come and talk. And now we'll take a couple minute adjournment, I guess.
We'll just pause. and then
Pause.
we'll
Was a
go into
pause.
Closed session.
Let everybody, because we have to go to a closed session due to the purpose of discussing an attorney-client privileged matter. Yeah, thanks. Guess if I'm pausing, I don't gavel.